Stress? Stress? You want to talk about stress? I've stumbled onto a major company conspiracy, Mac. How's that for stress? This company's being bled like a stuck pig, and I got a paper trail to prove it. Check this out. This right here's the mail. Now, can I talk about the mail? I've been dying to talk about the mail with you all day. Pepe Sylvia. This name, it keeps coming up over and over again every day. Pepe Sylvia, Pepe Sylvia. I look in the mail, this whole box is Pepe Sylvia. So I say to myself, I gotta find this guy. I gotta put the mail in the guy's goddamn hands. He's never gonna get it. He's just gonna keep coming back down here. So I go up to his office, and what do I find out, Mac? What do I find out? There is no Pepe Sylvia. The man does not exist. So I start thinking to myself, oh shit, buddy, I gotta dig a little deeper. There's no Pepe Sylvia? You gotta be kidding me. I got boxes full of Pepe. So I start marching my way down to Carol in HR, and I knock on a door and I say, Carol, I gotta ask you about Pepe. And when I open the door, what do I find? There's not a single goddamn desk in that office. There is no Carol in HR. Mac, half the employees in the building have been made up. This company's a goddamn ghost town.
What do you think I'm at? Ain't I supposed to have any patience to reach the end of, Mother? I know. I know it seems so unimportant to you what I'm doing, what I want to do. Having a little difference between them. Listen. Listen! Listen! You think I'm crazy about the warehouse? You think I'm in love with the Continental Shoemakers? You think I want to spend the rest of my life down there in that Celotex interior with fluorescent tubes? I'd rather somebody picked up a crowbar and better out my brains than go back there in the mornings. But I go every morning. Every single morning you come in yelling at me. God damn, rise and shine, rise and shine. I say to myself how lucky dead people are. I give up. I go. For $55 a month, I give up all I dream of doing and being ever. And you say it self. Self is all I ever thought of, Mother. Why? Listen. If self is all I ever thought of, I'll be where he is. I'll be gone as far as the system of transportation reaches. Don't you grab at me, Mother. I am going to the movies.
Oysters. I'm melted. He said, I want to feed you oysters. I've never done this before, but I'm game. It may sound a bit disgusting, I know. I may not even like it, but I was willing to give it a try. So he takes me to this beautiful restaurant, orders a great bottle of Merlot. We're sitting close, laughing and joking when he slides this horrible, slimy thing into my mouth. I'm trying to be appreciative. I'm trying really hard. Then he gazes into my eyes and says, I'm not very good at relationships. It's hard enough to swallow the damn thing as it is. It's not nearly as romantic as I thought. And now, it's getting worse. I'm choking. Then he says, that's why I think you're such a good friend. What is this friends thing? This man has his hand on my thigh. I've slept with him like twice. Is this really worth a good steak? I'm famished. I thought this relationship was going really well. And now I'm being dumped before the main course even arrives?
Well, there he is, all grown up. My brother Chucho. And he did grow up into something special, but not quite what my father had imagined. Chucho was one of the most badass pachicos of the whole east side. And there was no communication at all between my father and my brother Chucho. They were from two different worlds. To my father, there was dignity in work. He crossed the bridges every morning to work to support his family. My father, he felt he was right to throw Chucho out the house. But deep down in his heart, he didn't feel so right. I was stationed in San Diego when it all came down, so I was able to come home a couple of days later to visit the family. It was hard for Jimmy. He was so young and he cared Chucho so much. It was hot that night. The Santa Ana winds were blowing. They used to call them the devil winds. Everybody had said that the police had killed Chucho, but my mother, she never believed that. She knew that he was meant to die at the river. Chucho's whole life was on borrowed time. But you can't cheat faith forever. The spirit of the river had finally come back to claim what was rightfully his. Whenever I see the bridges that connect Los Angeles to East Los Angeles, I remember my family. I remember my father, my mother, my brothers, Chucho, little Jimmy, and Memo, the lawyer. My crazy sisters, Tony and Irene. Carritos was the last one to leave the house when he went to live with Jimmy. And after that, my mother and my father, they lived in the house alone. But my mother, she believed that everyone who lived there, we all left something behind. She believed that a piece of her spirit remained in the house and lived in all those empty chairs. I remember mi familia.
Hello, James. Welcome. Do you like the island? My grandmother had an island. Nothing to boast of. You could walk around it in an hour. But it was a paradise to us. One summer we came for a visit and discovered the place had been infested with rats. They'd come on a fishing boat and gorged themselves on coconut. So how do you get rats off an island? My grandmother showed me. We buried an oil drum and hinged the lid, and wired coconut to the lid as bait. And the rats would come for the coconut, and they'd fall into the drum. And after a month, you've trapped all the rats. But what do you do then? Throw the drum into the ocean? Burn it? No, you just leave it. And they begin to get hungry, and one by one, they start eating each other, until there are only two left, the two survivors. And then what? Do you kill them? No. You take them and release them into the trees. But now they don't eat coconut anymore. Now they only eat rat. You've changed their nature. The two survivors. This is what she's made us.
You have never loved me. You have merely thought it was pleasant to be in love with me. It's perfectly true, Torvald. When I was at home with Papa, he told me his opinions about everything. And so I had the same opinions. And if I differed from him, I concealed the fact because he wouldn't have liked it. He called me his doll child. And he played with me just as I used to play with dolls. And when I came to live with you, I was simply transferred from Papa's hands into yours. You arranged everything according to your own tastes. And so I got the same taste as you. Or else I pretended to. I'm really not quite sure which. I think sometimes the one and sometimes the other. When I look back on it, it seems as if I was just living here like a poor woman from hand to mouth. I existed merely to perform tricks for you, Torvald. But you would have it so. You and Papa have committed a great sin against me. And it is your fault that I have made nothing of myself.
I hate this. I hate being here. I hate that you have to be here. I hate that there is evil and that I was chosen to fight it. I wish a whole lot of the time that I hadn't been. I know a lot of you wish that I hadn't been either. This isn't about wishes. This is about choices. I believe we can beat this evil. Not when it comes, not when its army is ready. Now. Tomorrow morning I'm opening the seal. I'm going down into the Hellmouth and I'm finishing this once and for all. Right now you're asking yourself, what makes this different? What makes us anything more than a bunch of girls being picked off one by one? It's true. None of you have the power that Faith and I do. So here's the part where you make a choice. What if you could have that power? Now, in every generation, one Slayer is born because a bunch of men who died thousands of years ago made up that rule. They were powerful men. This woman is more powerful than all of them combined. So I say we change the rule. I say my power should be our power. Tomorrow, Willow will use the essence of this scythe to change our destiny. From now on, every girl in the world who might be a Slayer will be a Slayer. Every girl who could have the power will have the power. Can stand up, will stand up. Slayers, every one of us. Make your choice. Are you ready to be strong?
Look around, look around. A lot of new faces. Shut up. Which means a lot of you have been forgetting the first rules of Fight Club. I see in Fight Club some of the strongest and smartest men that ever lived. I see all this potential. And I see squander. God damn it, an entire generation pumping gas, waiting tables, or slaves with white collars. Advertisements have us chasing cars and clothes, working jobs we hate, to buy shit we don't need. We're the middle children of history, man. No place, no purpose. We have no Great War, no Great Depression. Our Great War is a spiritual war. Our Great Depression is our lives. We're all raised on television to believe that one day we'd all be millionaires and movie stars and rock gods, but we won't. We're slowly learning that fact, and we're very, very pissed off.
Yes, Mother! I like one once. I came across this picture a while ago. It's in the yearbook. His name was Jim. Here he is, in the Pirates of Penzance. The operetta that the senior class put on. He had a wonderful voice. We sat across the aisle from each other Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays in the auditorium. Here he is with a silver cup for debating. See his grin? He called me Blue Roses. Back when I had that attack of pleurosis, he asked me what was the matter when I came back, and I said, pleurosis, and he thought I said blue roses. I never cared for the girl he went out with. Emily Eisenbach. Oh, Emily was the best dressed girl at Salden, but she never pegged me as being sincere. I read in the newspaper once that they were engaged. That was a long time ago. They're probably married by now.
Hey, I want to say something. I've been trying to be more honest lately, and I need to say some things. I did the coal walk. I did it. Michael, you couldn't even do that. Maybe I should be your boss. Wow, I feel really good right now. Why didn't any of you come to my art show? I invited all of you. That really sucked. It's like sometimes some of you act like I don't even exist. Jim, I called off my wedding because of you. And now we're not even friends, and things are just weird between us, and that sucks, and I miss you. You were my best friend before you went to Stanford. I really miss you. I shouldn't have been with Roy. There were plenty of reasons to call off my wedding, but the truth is, I didn't care about any of those reasons until I met you. And now you're with someone else, and that's fine. That's whatever. That's not what I'm... Okay. My feet really hurt. The thing is, what I'm trying to say to you, Jim, and to everyone else in the circle, I guess, is that I miss having fun with you. Just you, not everyone else in the circle. Okay, I am gonna go walk in the water now. Yeah, it's a good day.
I know. It's all wrong. By right, we shouldn't even be here. But we are. It's like in the great stories, Mr. Frodo. The ones that really mattered. Full of darkness and danger they were. And sometimes you didn't even want to see the end. Because how could the end be happy? How could the world go back to the way it was after so much bad had happened? But in the end, it's only a passing thing, the shadow. Even darkness must pass. A new day will come, and when the sun shines out, it'll shine all the clearer. Those were the stories that really stayed with you, that meant something, even if you were too small to understand why. But I think, Mr. Frodo, that I do understand. You see, I know now, folk in those stories had lots of chances of turning back and going home. Only they didn't. They kept going. They were holding on to something. We have to hold on too. We have to hold on to the hope that there's still some good in this world, Mr. Frodo, and it's worth fighting for.
We both had done the math. Kelly added it all up. Knew she had to let me go. I added it all up and knew that I had lost her. Because I was never going to make it off that island. I was going to die there, totally alone. I was going to get sick or injured or something. The only choice I had, the only thing I could control, was when and how and where that happened. So I made a rope. And I went up to the summit to hang myself. I had to test it first, of course. You know me. And the weight of the log snapped the limb of the tree, so I couldn't even kill myself the way I wanted to. I had power over nothing. And that's when this feeling came over me like a warm blanket. I knew, somehow, I had to keep breathing. Somehow, I had to stay alive. Even though there was no reason to hope. And everything in my logic told me I would never make it back here. And so that's what I did. I stayed alive. I kept breathing. And then one day that logic was proven all wrong because the tide came in and gave me a sail. And now here I am. I'm back in Memphis talking to you. I've got ice in my glass. And I've lost her all over again. I'm so sad that I don't have Kelly. I'm so glad that she wasn't with me on that island. And I know what I've got to do now. I've got to keep breathing. Because tomorrow the sun will rise. And who knows what the tide could bring.
What's this, huh? Trying out your new silver? Less appealing for Daddy, huh? I'm sick, Daisy, we know that. But here you are in so-called recovery playing Betty Crocker cut up like a goddamn Virginia ham. Help me understand, Daisy, because I thought you didn't do Valium. Tell me how this safety net is working for you. Tell me that you don't take that blade and drag it across your skin and pray for the courage to press down. Tell me how your daddy helps you cope with that. Illuminate me. I mean, you tell me Daddy loves you, and I bet he does, with every inch of his manhood. They didn't release you because you're better, Daisy. They just gave up. You call this a life, Taking Daddy's money, buying your dollies, your knickknacks, and eating his fucking chicken. Fattening up like a prized fucking heifer. You change the scenery, but not the fucking situation, and the warden makes house calls. And everybody knows. Everybody knows that he fucks you. What they don't know is that you like it. You like it. But hey, man, it's cool, it's okay, it's fine, it's fucking fine. A man is a dick, is a man, is a dick, is a chicken, is a dad, a Valium, speculum, whatever. Whatever. You like being Mrs. Randone. Probably all you've ever known, huh?
My sister Veronica and I had this double act, and my husband Charlie traveled around with us. Now, for the last number in our show, we had these 20 acrobatic tricks in a row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, splits, spread eagles, backflips, flip-flops, one right after the other. Well, this one night before the show, we were up in a Hotel Cicero, having a few laughs, boozing, and we ran out of ice. So I go back to get some. I come back through the door, look, and there's Veronica and Charlie doing number 17, the spread eagle. Well, I was in such a state of shock, I completely blacked out. Can't remember a thing. It wasn't until after I was washing the blood off my hands I even knew they were dead.
I'd like to say something that I prepared for tonight. Hello? How about that ride in? I guess that's why they call it Sin City. You guys might not know this about me, but I consider myself as a bit of a loner. I tend to think of myself as a one-man wolf pack. But when my sister brought Doug home, I knew that he was one of my own. In my wolf pack, it had grew by one. So there were two of us in the wolf pack. I was alone first in the pack, and then Doug joined in later. And 6 months ago, when Doug introduced me to you guys, I thought, wait a second, could it be? And now I know for sure, I just added 2 more guys into my wolf pack. 4 of us wolves running around the desert together in Las Vegas looking for strippers and cocaine. So tonight, I make a toast.
You don't know really much about Halloween. You thought no further than the strange custom of having your children wear masks and go out begging for candy. You know, Mr. Kupfer was right. I do love a good joke, and this is the best ever. A joke on the children. But there is a better reason behind all of this, you see. It was the start of our year in our old Celtic lands, as we'd be waiting in our houses of wattles and clay. The barriers would be down, you see, between the real and the unreal. And the dead might be looking in to sit by our fires of turf. Halloween. The festival of Samhain. The last great one took place 3,000 years ago when the hills ran red with the blood of animals and children. To us, it was part of our world, our craft. Witchcraft, as a matter of fact. As it was a way of controlling our environment. It's not so different now. But in the end, we don't decide these things, you know. The planets do. They're in alignment, and it's time again. The world's gonna change tonight, Doctor. I'm glad you'll be able to watch it. And happy Halloween.
The inches we need are everywhere around us. They're at every break of the game, every minute, and every second. On this team, we fight for that inch. On this team, we tear ourselves and everyone around us to pieces for that inch. We claw out our fingernails for that inch. Because we know when we add up all those inches, that's going to make the fucking difference between winning and losing. Between living and dying. And I'll tell you, in a fight, the man that's not afraid to die is going to win that inch.
Have you ever felt like nobody was there? Like you felt forgotten in the middle of nowhere? Have you ever felt like you could disappear? Like you could fall and nobody would hear? Well, let that lonely feeling wash away. Maybe there's a reason to believe you'll be okay. Because when you're not strong enough to stand, you can reach out your hand, and someone will come running. Someone will take you home. Even when the dark comes crashing through, when you need a friend to carry you, when you're broken on the ground, you will be found. So let the sun come streaming in, because you'll reach up and you'll rise again. Lift your head and look around. You will be found. You will be found.
Whew, Madison, you used to make me so upset, but now I just feel bad for you. Yeah, I'm somebody's duff. Guess what? So are you. So is everybody. There's always going to be somebody prettier or more talented or richer than you, but it shouldn't affect the way you see yourself. You label everybody to bring them down, but end up missing out on all this stuff around you. You have Wesley, and you treat him like he's stupid, but he isn't. And people don't like him because he's with you. They like him because he's like an amazing guy. Look, I like myself. I wouldn't want to be anybody else. And I realize now that none of this matters to me. But it does to you. It's your dream. And I totally support that. Just don't tear me down for not giving a shit about your labels, because in the end, they're meaningless.
Okay, go ahead. What's the problem? Nope. What's the problem? Nope. Barry, go ahead. What's the problem? The problem we're trying to solve here is that there's rich teams and there's poor teams. And then there's 50 feet of crap, and then there's us. It's an unfair game. And now we've been gutted. We're like the organ donors for the rich. Boston has taken our kidneys. The Yankees have taken our heart. And you guys just keep sitting around talking the same old good body nonsense like we're selling jeans. Like we're looking for Fabio. We have to think differently. We are the last dog to the bull. You see what happens to the run to the litter? He dies.
Okay, so for example, the Haitians want to come to America, and people are like, what about our lack of resources? So this one time I had a garden party for my dad's birthday, and it was a sit-down dinner, so it was RSVP only. And people showed up that didn't RSVP. So I was totally bugging. So I had to haul ass to the kitchen, and I had to rearrange everything, and I had to make all of the food smaller portions, and I had to add more place settings. It ended up being totally fine. So what I don't understand is why the government can't rearrange stuff in the kitchen and we could totally party with the Haitians. And doesn't it say on the Statue of Liberty RSVP? Thank you so much.
The last time I saw my mom and dad, I was 8 going on 9. 8 years, 6 months, and 3 days. Almost as old as you are. They were going on tour, and they were leaving me behind for the first time because they didn't want me missing any more school. When I came to my room to say goodbye, I wouldn't open the door, so they left. I fell asleep, and the next thing I knew, my nanny was waking me up in the middle of the night telling me their plane had crashed. I wasn't mad, Ray. I was confused. Everyone was talking to me, talking, and I couldn't understand a word they were saying. Their voices became a blur. Soon I couldn't even recognize their faces. They were like these blobs. They started to grow fangs, and their eyes became green. And I knew I had to run away. So I packed my knapsack, looked up at the train, looked up at the map, decided that I wanted to live in Coney Island. I thought it would be, a real island. I could hide away there like Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn. Well, imagine my surprise. Teacups was the only ride they let me on by myself. So I got on it, started spinning myself round and round and round. I feel like I'm still there, spinning round and round and round. And the ride won't stop, but I won't dare get off. You were right, Ray. I am scared. But you're scared too. And I thought maybe if we could go together.
Hello, boys and girls. Hannah Baker here, live and in stereo, with no encore, no engagements, and this time, absolutely no requests. I hope you're ready, because I'm about to tell you the story of my life. More specifically, why my life ended. And if you're listening to these tapes, well, you're one of the reasons why. Now, I'm not saying which tape will bring you into the story, but fear not. If you receive this lovely little box, your name will pop up. I promise. Now, why would a dead girl lie? Hey, that sounds like a joke. Why would a dead girl lie? Answer, because she can't get up. Go ahead, laugh. Oh well, I thought it was funny. The rules here are pretty simple. There are only two. Number 1, you listen. Number 2, you pass it on. Hopefully, neither one will be easy for either one of you. It's not supposed to be easy. Once you're done listening to all 13 sides, because there are 13 sides to every story, rewind the tapes, put them back in the box, and pass them on to whoever follows your little tale. And you, lucky number 13, well, you can take the tapes straight to hell. Depending on your religion, maybe I'll see you down there. In case any of you are tempted to break these rules, understand I did make a copy of these tapes, and those copies will be released to the public matter if these tapes don't make it through all of you. This was no spur-of-the-moment decision, so don't take me for granted again. You're being watched.
An assassin has overturned my last defense, and now he's here to murder me. In the end, what separates a man from a slave? Money? Power? No. A man chooses. A slave obeys. You think you have memories? A farm? A family? An airplane? A crash? And then this place. Was there really ever a family? Did the airplane crash? Or was it hijacked? Forced down by something less than a man. Something bred to sleepwalk through life until activated by a simple phrase from their kindly master. Was a man sent to kill? Or a slave? Come in. Stop, would you kindly? Would you kindly? A powerful phrase. A familiar phrase. Sit, would you kindly? Stand, would you kindly? Run, turn, stop, would you kindly? A man chooses, a slave obeys. A man chooses, a slave obeys. Obey.